Oh, I'm back for the second time and the last time for the season, probably. But anyway.
Chuck, with the weight that Odafeo put on this offseason, are you planning to use him on the inside in some of those race car rush packages a little bit more often this year?
Yeah, Dobbs looks fantastic. He still maintains his speed. And, we want to be multifunctional. We want to be able to put people all around the field, and Doff fits that, that description, as well as KV. All our inside guys can play outside. So we want to be versatile, and I think Coach Orr, that's one of the things that, makes this defense, that's going to be tough to go against, because we can do things like that. But Doff definitely, he can play at any position across the board when it comes to pass rush.
You were waiting to kind of see what you had from Mike Green.
Yeah. I mean, Mike is earning his stripes. Mike's a rookie. So Mike has to play his position, get in line, like any other rookie. But Mike is going out there, he's competing at a high level. Mike can rush. Mike is strong, at the point of attack on the run. And what I like most about Mike, he just gives great effort. When you think of some of the great players around the league, what defines them is great effort. And that may help you make a lot of plays within itself. He has a great grasp of the defense. Matt Robinson's done a fantastic job teaching him in coverage and things like that. And when we talk about pass rush, Mike is all in. And Mike is everything he was advertised to be. And I think the fans are going to like what they see.
You said something getting that double-digit sacks. What did you see? What was the biggest thing that got him to that point in his growth?
Well, I think the first thing is, I said this before, creating the pass rusher mindset and the pass rusher culture. That there's a way to get there, and it starts with developing high-performance skill moves. And one of the first things I said is you will know what Doff's moves are, but now he's got multiple moves. So I just think that Odafe, he was humble, he wanted to learn, and he just developed moves. And then when you put a guy with those kind of skills with a guy who naturally has athleticism and strength, it can be dangerous. And I think, a lot of people didn't think he would ever get to this point, but it takes different guys different time to develop. And the credit to him, and the credit to the organization continuing to be behind him, and that's what the organization's always done, been behind Doff. And I'm happy for him. That was last year, so we're moving on to this year, and I have high expectations for Doff.
Chuck, you guys were second in sacks last year. I know you led sacks. Pressure rate probably not as high as you wanted. What's the balance there of pressure rate versus sacks?
Right.
And secondly, how do you approach that this year in terms of
Right.
the higher pressure rate?
Well, I like the fact that we are able to get quarterbacks down. And there are a lot of different things that, go into pressure rate. And just so I can just give you a little insight, in the National Football League, there's a new generation of running quarterbacks. So as you look at a lot of teams that, if you go back and really look at it, there are a lot of teams who had a lot of sacks and have pressure rate because a lot of times you have to do what we call crush rush. So 90% of the teams, you'll see us, and a lot of people here might say, man, they're stuck like, glue, and I've seen some of you guys say that, but guess what? It's a technique that all NFL teams use, and we have to use it a lot, because look who we go against. We went against all these running quarterbacks, so that had something to do with it. But as far as, continue to have success, we got guys that can rush, and we got, a coordinator that's, coming into his own. But I really look at, the pass rush numbers and look at what we do. Just as we continue to get opportunities and continue to develop, we'll be able to get sacks. But, I don't know exactly how to answer the pressure rate part, but I know it has a lot to do with the technique. And if you go do your research, you'll see that with the running quarterbacks, if you just rush upfield against Lamar, so that's kind of it. Most teams bull rush him too. So when you play Lamar Jackson, the pressure rate's going to be down too because everybody's bull rushing and keeping them in front of him.
Chuck, just to go back to Mike Green, have you sensed any kind of learning curve in his first week of practice? He looked pretty comfortable right away.
Well, there was a learning curve. He got out there and got after it, but there are a lot of things. You start going against guys that are seasoned, that have went against a lot of different kinds of offensive linemen. He went against a lot of different offensive linemen. But Mike, he's learning. Mike is getting out there, he's taking his lumps, but he's also giving out his lumps, So, but no, I don't think he was overwhelmed or nothing like that. Again, I just think it comes back to preparation. We put in some work. During the offseason, the OTAs and the mini camps, it's just a lot of work. So Mike is a part of what John and those guys have created. This offseason, people really put their head down and work. And I'm not saying that didn't happen in the past. So Mike, when we got out here, he knew the defense. He understood what it was. So all the guys, because of preparation from the coaches, that John really, he's on us about that. And I just think all of our rookies, when they come out here, they're already more ready because they've been prepared. And this group, I mean, we're working hard. And it shows in these guys when they're out here.
Chuck, another rookie, Aeneas Peebles, looks like he's flashed a little bit. What do you see from him and what his pass rush potential can be?
Man, I love Fub. I mean, Fub, he's got incredible upside. He is lightning quick. He's 293 pounds or something, but then they say he's small because he's short, but he's 293. But he's got a high skill level. He's quick. He has a great grasp of pass rush moves. He loves the pass rush. He has an aggressive mindset and a learning mindset. I love Aeneas, and as he continues to learn, going against big guys and going against protection, he'll get better. But he's been doing a good job for us, and I look forward to seeing him continue to grow.
Chuck, with the visa eyes that we didn't get to see a lot of him last year, what have you seen from him so far? And Kevin, what do you want to see to kind of be able to depend on him when the games get real?
Well, this is really technically Deese's first year, and he did some good stuff last year. And Deese is, what I want to see him doing is keep getting better. He got better today. Deese did some good stuff, got after it today, striking blocks, had some really good rushes in our competition 2-minute drill, did a good job. So the thing is, continue to work with Deese, same way we talked about a little bit about Doff, just developing moves at this level. When you think of all the guys that can rush, you think of Max Crosby, he can spin. You think of the guy at Pittsburgh, he can ghost. You think, I'm not going to say his name because that's how we roll. But, when you think about different guys, though, they got skilled rushes. So that's what Deese is working on. That's one thing we want to implement. And so guys are at different levels right now, and they continue to work to get better. And Deese, he's on the right path, and, continue to hope. I hope that he continues to work hard and he'll get better.
2 more questions, please.
Can you say that again? I'm so sorry. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, when you're a 2-time Pro Bowler like Beeks, everybody's going to look at you. You know what I mean? But I think also, being a game record, I think anytime you get 13 sacks or whatever he had, and you come back and get that, people, say, oh, he had a bad year, things like that. But you look at the benefits of what happened next to him. Beeks actually created a lot of the havoc for us to have 2 double-digit sackers. We had 2 guys get 10 sacks, and what did Beeks have, 6.5 or something? We almost had 3. So when you look at it from that perspective, but he's a hard worker. He's working hard today, and you want to continue to get better. And we all learning together. We're all learning, understanding how protection works, and how to put him in the proper position. But the good thing about having 4 guys in the front that can rush, when Beeks isn't having his best day, Travis could be up. When he's not having it, we got Doff, we got KV. You'll have Mike, and we got other guys behind him. Brody can rush. Tavius Robinson's working hard. So, but I understand that, and I understand Beeks. But I think, from 6.5 or whatever to 13, I think it's overblown, from that standpoint. We're number 2 in sacks, no one versus the run. I know that's not perfect, but I think Beeks is a big part of all that.
Chuck, you've got a lot of pressure off slot corner the last 2 years. Looked like Keon Martin was in on the quarterback a couple of times the last couple of days. Is there a secret that you have in terms of how you want to get after it, or what you ask for that?
That's probably a little bit out of my pay grade, understanding from that standpoint. But when I do get a chance to work, because I work with the secondary, the linebackers, everybody with pass rush, our biggest thing is you don't want to be surprised. So when you're coming off the corner, your cornerback, your safety, I shouldn't be surprised because someone's going to be there. So if you're not surprised, what's going to happen is you'll have a technique or something ready. And we work, really hard on that, and the guys really accept that. And that's kind of where I come in on that part from dealing with the secondary.
Thank you, Coach. We got to let Coach go, guys.
Thanks,
Coach. Appreciate
Thanks,
it.
guys. Appreciate it.